Speaking in Tongues, which is part of the PEN World Voices Festival. This is the second year that we work together with PEN, organizing an event. Last year we presented Translating Poets Alive, in which some of our MFA students read their translations into English of American poets Yusef Komaniaka, Charles Simic, Anne Waldman, and Tracy Smith. Today we are presenting this event which includes 3 poets from Peru, Cusco, Peru, Bilbao, and Barcelona. But I'm going to pass the mic to my colleague and friend Lila Zemborain to introduce them. I just want to say thanks to the King Juan Carlos Center, Laura Turegano and Joe Labani for their support, and also to Jacob Orsos and Elizabeth Weinstein from the PEN World Voices Festival. And I want to mention that Melcion, Odi, and Tere will be reading their versions in their languages, the languages they write in. And the English translations are going to be read by Marianne Newman, who is a former director of the Catalan Center at NYU, and 2 of our young students in the undergraduate program, also Creative Writing in Spanish program, Connor Messinger and Miguel Angel Peña. And thanks to all of you for contributing to this event. Lila.
To introduce this event today, that we were thinking since a long time ago to have an event featuring languages, poets writing in languages that belong to Spanish-speaking countries, but that they really don't write in Spanish. So that they took their own languages, their mother tongues, I say, as their literary languages. It's a process that has been going on in many countries, fortunately, at the end of the 20th century. And these poets are Odi Gonzales from Peru, Tere Irastortza from Spain, but from the Basque province, or the Basque country, sorry, and Melcion Mateu from Barcelona, as Mariela has mentioned. I was just talking to them, and of course these languages were used forever in the regions they belong to, but in the last years of the 20th century, I mean maybe in the 80s, they became more powerful as literature, and books were being published, especially in Spain after Franco's death, so when everything changed completely in relation to the possibility of using each regional language, let's say. So, of course, in the Andean zone, Quechua was spoken for ages, and but we are very proud to present Odi Gonzales, who was the first person that published a poetry book in Peru in 2000. So it's a long way for languages to get into the, let's call a mainstream, no? This kind of languages to get into the mainstream. So the poets will be reading in their own languages and in English, and we will feature as an current the Spanish translations, because they don't write in Spanish. I mean, they could write in Spanish, but they had to translate their own work in Spanish, since we are a creative writing in Spanish program. Colonizing them. Not too good. So I will be reading their bios. We will start with Odi Gonzales. He's a Peruvian poet, professor, and translator who writes in both Quechua and Spanish. He has published 7 books of poetry, including Tunupa, El libro de las sirenas, 2002, La Escuela de Cusco, 2005, and Avenida Sol, Greenwich Village, 2011. Currently, Gonzales resides in New York City and is teaching Quechua language and culture at New York University. Melcion Mateu, Barcelona, 1971, is the author of 3 poetry books: Vida Evident, 1988, Ningú Petit, 2002, inspired by Winsor McCay's classic comic strips, Little Nemo in Slumberland, and Jordi amb Cangurs, Barcelona, 2005. As a translator, he has turned into Catalan works by Ciri Hustert, not a very good pronunciation on myself, Michael Onstahny, and John Ashbery, and has written about New York City's culture and nightlife for newspapers such as Abut, El País, and for La Vanguardia. He's a PhD candidate and language instructor at NYU's Department of Spanish and Portuguese. And Tere Irastortza, Saldivia, 1961, graduated in Basque philology and Hispanic philology. She has published 10 books of poetry, including Glafesiac, 1980, with which she won the National Critics Award in Premio Nacional de la Crítica. Eta Orain Bodakit, 2011, Manuel Devotio Gabecoa, Isengabe Direnak, and Glossack, which also won the National Critics Award and was a finalist for the National Literature Award. She has also participated in the creation of various different projects and magazines, as well as worked on the translations of various of her favorite authors, such as Edmond Javés, Marina Tsavetaia, and Maria Manel. Besides being a translator herself, she has also been translated into various languages, amongst them English, Italian, Catalan, Galician, and French. So please welcome all of the 3 poets to the Pen Word Voices.
Recreate the voice of these quotidian virgins, of these human virgins. We are going to start with Virgen Inmaculada, Immaculate Virgin. Okay. Yum Aksonko Mamacha. Wakaipata Oscollacta Pachaillari. Yasang Kamion Kuna Umaiman Muyumon Muchuknya Maitakkai Katichupay Kunari Maiping Kuskatuta Leimi Purihmasi Kuna Maipita Chay Akoyuska Wasak Epikunari Maipi Kolkeo Purihkuna Pampawarmi, Pantasipas, Concorchaki Wachahkoya. Klaus, Chay Hatun Ario Unancha, Mananya Palalayanchu Ukuykunapi. Maipitah Kunangli Chay Kusipatapi, Sumah, Nórdico Waikepura, Ukyahkuna. Maipi yauri makakuna, mai kikihana manka yutakuna. Chay samblasmanta kori kolke takai kamayokuna maipi yanka. Kaiping sakaywanku, kiking wantunay patapi. Procuradores, portal comercio kihyupi. Manan tapuykunkuchu nyokamanta, Chayña payallapas, chay kaskotaka munay uya mamacha sutiawahni kunapas. Katipayahni harikuna, orko uywaykuna ripunku. Ichapas, ñakawasyan kuchu ukukus chakipana wasipi. Icha kamikasepichu Haitapaku inka ajata upiasyanku. Ichachu muspasyanku kilometro seropi santutuspi. Chakipi, chakipatapi, chekuchakuna, poncheta, sairita, hatukunku. Vale.
Immaculate Virgin. Cusco, Plaza de Armas, 2 a.m. Heavy trucks zigzag through my memory. Via Crucis. Where are my faithful, my followers on midnight professionals? Where are the backpackers and the VIP tourists? Gold digger, Andean lover, hustler kneeling in prayer. Claus, that big Aryan banner no longer flutters within me. And what of the Celtic brotherhood of holy drinkers from the Plaza Regocijo? And the Yaudi herders, and the Kikihana potters, and the trade union of silversmith and gilders from San Blas? Nothing, no one. They have put me here, on my platform, on the corner of Procuradores and Portal Comercio. Not even the sanctimonious old ladies who call me the beauty of the cathedral cry out for me. My faithful, my retinue, gone. Are they perjuring themselves, camped out at the bar at Yukuku's? Are they drinking double Inca shots in the Kamikaze, taking the flight at kilometer 0 in Santutis? The children at my feet offer punch and cigarettes.
Okay. Now, the other poem, I would like to mention that this poem was translated by my beloved friend Jessica Ernest Powell. The next poem is Walcan Kayo Mamacha or Virgen Arcabucera. Manang ikarih papa uhupi chakra machay kunapi chukani karakoto manta chutusu kachurichu kaiman ichan qosay wanyuhtin chitahina ñak'asta llapan wawaykuna tukukuhtin mana huchayoq sipinakuy pusaq awqa tukupuni tukuy riku manchay suyukunapi tukuy ñak'ariqkunapaqmi phiña kani terrukupaq ejercitopaq ninawantunankuna hawalayawan ñak'arisqa wallaykuña umayman muyumun yaki nunakuna sapap'unchay purini ayapampakunapi tukukun apaykunata p'ampaspa uhru ukukunapi chaypin waqapakuni walqankayta allinchay.
Virgin of the Musket. I am not a scarecrow of the wheat fields, nor of my flowering potato patches. A Caracoto troop dancer? Since the death of my husband, of my beheaded children, slaughtered like sheep, massacre of the innocent saints, I became the head of the resistance group in the emergency zone. I fight against murderers from both sides, terrorists, army. Chariots of fire fly around me. My decimated battalions boil in my head. Wandering souls. My march ends in humble cemeteries, tombs where I buried my deceased. It is there where I weep and clean my musket.
The next three poems belong to my book, el libro Tunupa, el libro de las sirenas, Tunupa, the book of sirens. This book is based upon Andean myth. According to this myth, Tunupa was the most beloved youngest child of a powerful Andean god Pachayachachi Viracocha. Although Tunupa was the beloved son of this god, Tunupa was expelled from the Andean kingdom for his disobedience. After that, Tunupa became in a simple mortal, wandered day after day, and finally he found the twin sisters, Umantu and Tesintu, something like the first fish women in the Andean world. I mean the first sirens in the Andean world. I have to say that finally Tunupa lived with both at the same time. The poems try to recreate this issue, this story from the 1st century about mid-9th century. There is a big difference between these poems and the myth. Umantu. Maitanya rehti kipas kuichi sirina silwiting kachaikiwan kang sutinta wahyaripai itapurih almaita urimanchali salkai erpe ampachuh changkah rutuskan kumanta pacha kutichimui takih chalwis sipas waktay kita wahya payaspa hunt anyunyuy kimanta luy pokchirimo ata nyunyuy kita kaway chispa may pinya tupas pay kipas riti manarihuri puyuht ikan poya kutichimoy kosti usah puyuman tingkiska ayreh almaita Naupachimoy yaw manapunyo siwih warmi chingkan pamoy aynyakunah nyang ningmang katakunah patangmang maitanya chayahti kipas luy poreh wairay koya tusuh waira koto tusarimuy chingka halmaita aysarimuy chakimpamanta sichus manahamuita munahtingka kay khutu waksi ayahait ayman.
Wherever it is you go, my rainbow siren, with your tenacious tambourine, call my soul that wanders frightened, wild, silent, since first its hair was cut. Lure it, develop the depth with your wiles and your caresses, revealing, perverse, through fertile breasts of turbid milk. Wherever it is that you encounter, invisible flower of the mist, harness my spirit that flees with its asthma and its imaginary armies. Guide it now, sleepless siren, whistling by the narrow street of goldfinches, by the path of the cliffs. Wherever it is that you arrive, wanderer nymph of the stormy gales, led my stray soul companion of pristine air, drag it, if it does not want to come to this, my deathbed.
This poem were translated by my friends Alison Krogel and Jose Ramon Ruiz Sanchez. What is the name? This poem was written firstly in Spanish, later I translate into Quechua. Yakana. Tulpuy kuna yoy simin uhupi runayaska tukuy michik kuna rimaynimpi wantuska almakatih kuna wahapayaskan manchay hampih kuna taripaskan purum pampapi ayapampapi puri kachanki chusah manarihurih huyuh ikan koya oylor kanchapi samarispa kohlyak chupampi puñurispa ch'ah kanchapi salkay itay kachanki onkoh uywahina ñañukunkay kita chutarispa.
Yakana, fabled in the mother tongue of dyers, divulged by the llama drivers, invoked by the chorus of spirit callers, besieged by the band of fear healers. You wander verbal, invisible, bright white fairy of the mist, by the cantons and the people's hallowed ground. You pass the night in the coral of constellation. Between the tail of the scorpions and Sagittarius, it is there that you arrogantly trot, untamed, stretching up your long neck like an expectant llama.
Ukyuk. Ata mayukuna chokay chokaskan muyuh uno apaskan rihurini uychikuna pakarina honchu pusukunapi sapay tuytuyuni khutu kochokuna lawat urumpi luysipas chalwa sirenak isan pusupatapi wacanayak ampachucha koya hapiskan wanyuh aylukuna ñakaskan tuyllullaqtakuna millakuskan chinkayuni ñawin unupi chaypuykuni ñusqahispanan lluy ch'uya ponkopi chulluyuni pantay qatikuni ñut'uchallwaq utunirayninta thampi uñuq millp'usqan qocha qayrakuna q'isampi waqapakuyki yaw Mayo sirina.
Navigator, defeated by the inundations and whirlpools, I was stranded in stagnant waters, where indigo springs forth the rainbow. I swam in depths alone in wet, fertile soil of the lake floor where sirens live in excited anticipation, nymphs that lasso men with their long tresses. Reprimanded by the vain lineages, by dynasties of submerged cities, I descended to the temples, to the urinary passages of virgins of the sun. In vain I followed the dashing and darting of the tiniest of fish. Sunken in glaucous ponds where those that nest are only frogs, I cried out for you, siren of the waters.
Okay, thanks very much.
d'abús, diumenges i festius, estan fets un fàstic tots els molls de Manhattan. Ei, si passes per casa abans de mitjanit, pots fer el favor de baixar a comprar hamburgueses? Sisplau, i si passes per casa? Estic cansat de ser un ocell, de ser dona i ocell, àguila o sirena, dels turistes que es volen fer una foto amb mi, d'anar carregat en paquets que no són meus i que acaben oblidats en algun taxi, de llegir atentament els anuncis del metro, d'empamparar els carrers amb el meu currículum. He estat home, he estat màquina, he estat bèstia. En què he de convertir-me avui per sobreviure?
Modus vivendi. It's exhausting, this whole thing, going out to run with boxing gloves on through the avenues of Queens, smoking a pipe with an interesting air. I'd rather not have to work as a diver on Sundays and holidays. All the Manhattan docks are getting disgusting. Hey, if you come by my place before midnight, can you do me a favor and go down to buy some hamburgers? Please, but only if you do come by. I'm tired of being a bird, of being a woman and a bird, or an eagle and a mermaid, of tourists who want to take a picture with me, of hauling around packages that aren't mine and that I end up forgetting in some taxi, of attentively reading the ads on the subway, of plastering the streets with my CV. I've been man, I've been machine, I've been beast. What will I have to turn into today in order to survive?
One of my latest published collection, Jardí en Cangurs, a garden with kangaroos, which works very much on an idea that's in a line by Marianne Moore, defining poetry as imaginary gardens with real thoughts in them. So these are my gardens with kangaroos. Cercle. El meu amor és una foca que s'adorm. El meu amor és una rasella transplantada en la tundra. De vegades l'he vist, surt a la televisió. Hi ha una marca en un banc del Parc de la Ciutadella que diu el nom del meu amor. El meu amor és un grafit al metro. El seu nom està escrit a la murada d'Alcúdia, en un paper penjat en un bar d'Estocolm. No t'he parlat avui, amor, perquè ets invisible i, de totes maneres, sempre xerro massa. Un núvol sempre indica el lloc on viu el meu amor, a l'estiu i a l'hivern. El meu amor és l'últim cercle d'una pedra llançada al llac, de tan gran, està a punt d'esborrar-se.
Circle. My love's a seal falling asleep. My love's a transplanted poppy in the tundra, at times seen appearing on TV. There's a mark on a bench in Ciutadella Park that says the name of my love. My love's a graffiti in a subway station. The name written on the ramparts of Alcúdia, on a slip of paper hung in a Stockholm bar. Love, I haven't spoken to you today because you're invisible, and anyway, I'm always chatting too much. A cloud always points out the place where my love lives, in summer and in winter. My love's the last circle of a stone tossed in a lake, so wide it's about to vanish.
Next poem is Ramblas. The Ramblas, of course, are probably Barcelona's most touristic and crowded street, where even natives from there find hard to feel at home. So, Ramblas. Pel meu saxo, la vida és un ensurt. Per d'altres, simplement és una ombra que es creu en la direcció oposada. En un tros de diari surt una foto del diable. S'assembla a aquest taxista. Les meves mans, millor que les butxaques. Pel meu saxo, és gairebé un error, però per mi és una idea, i voldria pensar-la sota un cel menys xafogós, menys semblant a la Rambla. Colom sempre assenyala l'indret equivocat, Sardenya o Felanitx, en lloc dels hotels màgics del Caribe. Podria agafar-la i llançar-la sota els peus d'algun turista, posar-la al fons del barret i esperar que els dòlars la cobrissin, repartir-la en paper sense posar de l'andana a la sortida del Liceu. Quan sigui gran em vull comprar un barret mexicà, veure les praderies d'Artemísia, perquè qui voldria viure en aquell pandemoni?
I'd like to make one little comment also. But, if you haven't been to Barcelona, you should go. But at the end of the Rambla, there's the statue of Columbus. And the other thing is they sell Mexican hats.
Yeah, and the statue of Columbus is pointing to the sea, but the sea in Barcelona actually points to Africa, so it doesn't make many sense.
I went the wrong way. Bueno, Ramblas. Life for my sax is a shock. For others, it's simply a shadow crossing in the opposite direction. In a section of the paper, there's a photo of the devil. He looks like this taxi driver. My hands, better off in my pockets. My sax says that's a mistake, but for me it's an idea, and I'd want to think over my life under a less stifling sky, a sky less like the Rambla. Columbus was always pointing out the wrong places, Sardinia or Felanitx, instead of the magic hotels of the Caribbean. I could grab my life and throw it at the feet of some tourist, putting it at the bottom of a hat, hoping that dollars cover it over completely, passing out flyers at the top of the stairway of the exit of the Liceo subway stop. When I grow up, I want to buy a Mexican sombrero and see the sage prairies, because who would want to live in this pandemonium?
Next poem, Routine, it's from the same collection and tries to describe every poet's everyday experience with poetry. Rutina. Faig el que fan els pobres. Dilluns em toca menjar fetge, dimarts i anties. Els dimecres em faig un te amb llimona, em passejo pel Born, recullo mostres de quitina, d'esperma i de verí. Llegeixo cant a alguna biblioteca, no hi ha res tan sublim. Enraono tot sol als bancs del parc, són verds i em coneixen. Tinc un amor i dormim plegats a la mateixa màrfaga. Però algun dia res no serà igual. No tindrà límits la meva fortuna. Seran meus tots els mars, el cel i les muntanyes. Al meu jardí hi viuran cangurs. Seré el somni d'alguns. Els reis mags es moriran d'enveja i potser es faran la guerra als meus hereus amb el vent, amb el foc, de tant com es vendran aquests poemes.
Routine. I do as the poor do. Mondays, liver. Tuesdays, lentils. Wednesdays, I make myself tea with lemon. Take a walk through El Born. Collect some traces of chitin, sperm, and poison. Read Kant in some library. There's nothing more sublime. And talk to myself alone on park benches. They're green and they know me. I have a lover and we sleep bunched on the same straw mattress. But one day everything will change. A limitless fortune, the seas, sky, and mountains, all mine. Kangaroos will live in my garden. I'll be someone's dream. The wise men will die of envy. And maybe my heirs will go to war with each other, with wind, with fire, since these poems will have sold so well.
Fossa. This poem, translated as Abyss, I'm very fond of Rowan Ricardo Phillips' English translation, who got it published in the current issue of the Paris Review, so I'm happy with that. Fossa. Quan tu i jo dormim, són com les balenes, perquè a mi em surten peixos per la boca i tu despentines les algues. Sentim l'olor de les petxines i els tarongers de soia, a la deriva enduts, sense cap terra que ens pertanyi, pertanyem a la terra. Dos marroquins inhalen cola i puja el pa fins a la nostra cambra. La ciutat llança llums contra el sostre. Potser hi ha guàrdies civils, potser sirenes, i és ple de cendra a l'aire, però la nostra nit és submarina.
Abyss. You and I, when we sleep, we're like whales, because fish swim out of my mouth and you dishevel the seaweed. We hear the scent of seashells, the oranges of soya, drifting, taken, without earth that belongs to us, belonging to the earth. Two Moroccans inhale glue and the vapor climbs to our bedchamber. The city throws its lights against the ceiling. And perhaps there are cops, and perhaps sirens, and the air is full of ash. But our night is submarine.
Next poem, Parada, Bus Stop. It's an instant image of what you could see at any bus stop or corner of the city. Parada. Les parades de bus són una noia amb un impermeable groc. Les parades de bus són la senyora que mira els números i que s'asseu per després mirar el rellotge amb calma. Les parades de bus són algú que estossega. Són les motos que passen per davant, la Vanguardia, Renault, les baldrigues i els manatins. Són, finalment, l'autobús que s'hi atura i les esborra.
Bus stop. Bus stops are a girl in a yellow raincoat. Bus stops are the woman who looks at the numbers and sits down to look out at her watch with calm. Bus stops are someone coughing, are the scooters that pass by, La Vanguardia, Renault. The sheer waters of the manatees are finally the bus that arrives and erases them all.
Yeah. The next poem has a funny title. To come, it's an impossible word. It's an impossible word to translate. It's an existing word, actually, even in Catalan. But by mistake, some philologists in the 19th century got confused with another word, which is on to come, which means wherever. And they thought on was the article, and to come a word in itself. So they treated to come as a word and put it in the dictionary. It didn't make any sense, but some writers saw that word, they thought they were learning a new word and used it in their classic works. So it's become a word, but I'm not sure about what it means. So I think it was the best title for a place that is not a place, to come. A la meva ciutat, els flamencs volen com els transvestits. A la meva ciutat, les noies duen pírcings al marsupi, peguen bots increïbles, cauen esparterades des dàtils que no es toquen. Les famílies ho troben un veritable despropòsit. Fan menys gots que una merda a la vorera. Per què va preferir el ciment, el cafè amb llet i el croissant? De vegades surt fum de les clavegueres i les restes de cocaïna s'escampen damunt dels passos zebra. Alguns ulls s'ho miren en silenci, passen cotxes de policia i algú que fa autostop no sap com explicar-se la raó per la qual aquestes coses passen a la meva ciutat.
To come in English is in my city. In my city, the flamingos fly among the transvestites. In my city, the girls wear piercings in their marsupia, absolutely flip out, fall in quartered pieces from unrelated addicts. The families find it hard to square away. They look worse than a piece of shit on the sidewalk. Why prefer cement to a latte and croissant? Sometimes smoke rises from the sewers and traces of cocaine are scattered over the crosswalk. Some eyes think it over in silence, police cars pass by, and the hitchhiker doesn't know why these things happen in my city.
Yeah, that's Gap. That's another impossible title to translate. It's Gap in the original, actually in Provençal, not Catalan. Recent studies say that narcissists' overconfidence may hide low self-esteem. Yet I do believe that lyrical poetry is written with a superego. So Catalan poetry derives directly from Provençal poetry, where the poet's vanity produced its own genre. The title word, gap, is that genre, does not refer to a chain store, not to something you have to mind when exiting the subway, but to this genre where the troubadour, the Provençal troubadour, used to boast typically challenging another troubadour. Very much that, as you can find in other oral traditions, even in rap music, hey, I'm better than you, this kind of thing. There are some famous lines by Arnau Daniel, troubadour, the troubadour Arnau Daniel, who said, and translated by Ed Rapound, he said, I'm Arnaud, no, well, that's the original. I am Arnaud who loved the wind and swim against the torrent and chase the have with an ox. So this is the genre of a gap. Gap. Puc fondre el gel amb la mirada, puc esborrar una multitud amb un sol parpelleig. Si m'ho proposés, podria fer créixer la palmera més alta enmig d'aquesta plaça. Puc agafar un grapat d'aigua, palpar-lo i prémer-lo fins que en surti una pedra. Els guàrdies m'aturen quan vaig pel carrer i em demanen per mi. Sempre els indico la direcció oposada. Al matí, en despertar-me, és normal que el llençol m'arribi al sostre. Puc veure alguns planetes que han deixat d'existir i també les estrelles que no han sortit encara. El meu horòscop sempre s'acompleix. El meu destí és el destí dels éssers immortals. Puc decidir entre la vida i la mort, entre el somni i allò que no gosem pensar. Puc fer-te patir o fer que et sentis l'ésser més feliç de la Terra. El meu nom és antic, sóc el rei de la llum. Quan plou o quan fa fred, em torno una crisàlida. Al meu costat les papallones sempre tremolen. No puc fer res per evitar-ho. El que els altres poetes escriuen, el que els altres poetes diuen en els seus versos, és només una part molt petita del que puc dir i puc fer.
Gap. With one glance, I can melt ice. I can wipe out a multitude with one single blink. If I put my mind to it, I could make the tallest of palms rise right here in the middle of this plaza. I can grab a fistful of water, feel for its surfaces, and squeeze until a stone comes out of it. The cops stop me when I'm out on the street and ask me if I've seen me. I always send them in the other direction. In the morning, when I wake up, the sheet usually reaches up to the ceiling. I can see some of the planets that no longer exist, and the stars as well that still haven't come to be. My horoscope always comes true. My destiny is that of immortals. I get to choose between life and death, between the dream and that of which we don't like to think. I can make you suffer or make you feel you're the happiest being on earth. My name is Ancient. I'm the king of all light. When it rains or when it's cold, I become chrysalis. Butterflies always tremble at my flanks. I can't do anything to avoid it. What other poets write, what other poets say in their lines is only a part, one small part, of what I can say and what I can do.
Troballa, that's another very difficult title to translate, even in Spanish. Troballa, it means discovery, but it can be also whatever you find, find in the street.
It's a find.
Yeah, something that's not important,
Yeah.
not necessarily important.
What a find.
Troballa. Ara, que ja no aniré a Harvard, puc estudiar quan regamlimen les gotes de pluja per la finestra de casa. És increïble. Mai no són idèntiques.
Discovery. Now that I'm not going to Harvard, I can study how the raindrops trickle down the window pane here in my house. It's incredible. They're never exactly the same.
El 100 nom de Déu, The 100 Names of God. The title alludes to Mallorcan 13th century philosopher Ramon Llull. And I don't know if it's one of my mystical or more materialistic poems, so I'll let you decide that. Déu no existeix, en alguns moments ho semblava Charlie Parker. Jesucrist clarament hi tenia certa retirada. I ho era de vegades aquell amor meu quan s'ajeia i els pits li miraven al cel. Déu no és ningú, només una paraula que es diu de tant en tant en les 100 llengües majoritàries. Dir la paraula de Déu és redundant perquè ell és tan sols una paraula pronunciada amb èxtasi o al final d'algun renex. O potser ho era aquell mamut congelat, la petjada o l'ou del dinosaure. Déu podria ser alguna cosa com l'aire que s'ignala o s'exhala cada 3 o 5 braçades quan es neda. O podria ser el silenci que ens desperta en la nit, o la llum que ens confon en la cova submarina, etc. O podria ser jo quan escric aquest poema. Per això només és un gust, no sé ningú. Per això només és un gust, no pertany a ningú.
The 100 Names of God. God doesn't exist. In some moments it seems Charlie Parker is God. Jesus Christ clearly resembled him, and sometimes was my love when he lay down and his chest looked up to heaven. God is no one. God is only a word said now and again in the 100 principal languages. To say the word of God is redundant, because he is only a word pronounced with ecstasy or at the end of some swearing. Or perhaps it was that frozen mammoth, the dinosaur's footprint or egg. God could be something like the air that's inhaled or exhaled every 3 or 5 strokes when swimming. It could be the silence that wakes us in the night, or the underwater cave's light that confounds us, etc. It could be me when I'm writing this poem. For that alone, it's a pleasure to be no one. For that alone, it's a pleasure to belong to no one.
Yeah, the Cock Island. Albert Einstein used to say that imagination is more important than knowledge, and even though I'm really bad at mathematics and science in general, reading science often spurs my imagination. And although some might read this poem otherwise, actually its title alludes to a figure in fractal geometry. Illa de Coc. Tu i jo no existim, som una idea, cadascú en la ment de l'altre. Una idea dins d'una altra, dins la qual només n'hi ha una altra, com una pedra d'una punta d'un cap que és igual que una península.
Cook Island. You and I, we don't exist. We're an idea. Both of us in the mind of the other. An idea inside of another idea, inside of which there's only another. Like a pebble from the tip of a cape, is in and of itself the same as the peninsula.
Thank you.
Esker, hona etortzeagatik. I cannot speak English. For me, English is as the Latin. Muchas gracias por venir. Thank you for Lisa, Lila, Laura, Claudia, O'Connor, eta baita ere Euskal Jaurlaritzako delegazioari ere hemen fotokopiak egiten aritu zareten guztioi. Ongi etorriak euskaraz entzutera. Bienvenidos a nuestro idioma. Welcome to Basque. Aurrenekoan poesia hitz batez hasten da. Aurrenekoan poesia hitz batez hasten da, bere gixara. Poetak jainko izan nahi baitu. Geroko poesia esaldi batez hasten da.
El volumen es el mismo, entonces el volumen de la música es el mismo que el del micrófono.
Batez hasten da, bere gixara. Poetak jainko izan nahi baitu. Geroko poesia esaldi batez hasten da. Poetak profeta izan nahi baitu. Gerogorako poesia ideia batez baliatzen da. Poetak anforan gorde nahi du. Azkenean, poesiak utxunea zabaltzen du. Sortzeko espazioa behar da.
This is the first page, a door perhaps. But since the door separates the inside from the outside, or this first page separates the closed from the open book, either because the door positions us on one side or the other, or because this first page represents you reading now and me having written in advance. The door may not know how to show the beginning or the closing, yet the beginning, wherever it may be, must be something gathered together like a seed, and the seed is always the core. So it seems the beginning will always be in the seed, in an apple core, for example, or in the core of a mind. So this is the first page, the front cover, if you like, the jacket.
It's different. Yes, it's different, but it's the... We are very intelligent.
Very different.
Eta orain, nik euskeraz eta berak ingelesez, eta hor, espainolez gauza bera hartuko da. Sortu zu sortzen zara, nire baitan, baina ez dago sortzailerik. Esatea daukate nahi dutena idazle guztiek. Ez dago sortzailerik. Ez ezagunari ixten etzaion espazioa bakarrik. Ezagutzen nauzu nire baitan zauzkadalako. Eta etzara nire itxaropena baino. Ezagutzen nauzu eta bereizten arratsaldeak imatzen ari den lorazainetik. Mendietako elurra zurrupatzen duen egoaizetik. Naiz eta nik ezin zaitudan nire bakardadetik bereizi. Hiriak dira. Agintarien loga iztuetako labirint eta mapak. Ez zaitut bakarrik utziko. Izkutatzen ikasten duzun artean. Zilborrestea da bereziko gaituena. Kalea pasata, beste etxe batean biziko gara. Denbora pasata, beste garai bateko alaba izango gara. Eta hantxe, eta ordu hantxe ere, zure baitan izango nauzu. Kale eta denbora eta bizkera guztien ostean. osberoen paraleloetan eta mundua estutzen duten atitude denetan, irla bakarrik ez inozentziarentzat. Itxarroidan ahatik, memoriaren trampa gainean, ametsantu eta astura gorrienetan gardainatuek enbarazoa egingo ez duen horretan. Itxarroidan, ezagutzen dudan oasi bakarrean, eta luze iritsirik hauenetan kontaitzan, zerulurren arteko zurubiaren mailekin, alferrik esandako hitzak, ezagutu dudan oasi bakarra.
Create. You are created. But inside me, there are no creators, whatever all the writers might say. There are no creators. Only space which is not closed to the unknown. Intimacy isn't a question of one person either. Your kicks express it well, while I am alone. You know me, because I have you inside me, and you are no more than my hope. You know me, and you distinguish me from the gardener who is pruning the evening, from the southerly wind that is sucking the mountain snows, even though I cannot distinguish you from my loneliness. Cities are the labyrinths and maps of the nightmares of the authorities. I won't leave you alone while you are learning to conceal yourself. The umbilical cord will separate us. You'll live in another house across the street. You will be the daughter of another time across time. And right there, at that very time, you will have me inside you, behind all the streets, times, and manners of speaking. Not even an island for innocence in the hot cold parallels and in all the latitudes which squeeze the world. But wait for me, in the trap of memory, where the joining of extreme forgetfulness with swollen dreams will not obstruct. Wait for me, in the only oasis I know. And when you find the waiting is too long, count, with the rungs of the rope ladder between earth and heaven, the words spoken in vain, the only oasis I know.
Argina bat. Demagun, ari mahortzetan daukadala aurkitzen nauzula. Eta lumaje arre gorriskako izan zenaren argioilarraren argitzalek, oraindik aspaldiko zoriontasunaren epela gogora ekartzen dizutela. Demagun, ene begiek oraindik argizulo diruditela. Ordu horretarako nago, dena irudipen bihurturik alferrik izango dela atzera egina izatea. Gure planoko zenbaki konplexuak adierazten duen vektoreak absisen ardetzekin osatua izango baitu angelu edo argumentua. Eta horrekin ezagun izango baitira gure bizitzako traiektoria ezinbestekoaren hildo orokorrak. Aukeran beraz nago, arimezkilak bezala hobe dugula egaldatzea eta isiltzea, arginabarrarekin batera. Arginabarrarekin batera, 20 segundos bakarrik bada ere.
Daybreak. Let's assume you find me with my soul between my teeth, in that chiaroscuro of the hoopoe with the muddy brown, reddish plumage still makes you recall the warmth of long past happiness. Let's assume that my eyes still resemble poles of light. By that time, I think, when everything has turned into illusion, it will be no use wanting to go back, because the vector expressed by the complex number of our plane will have completed the angle or argument with the x-axis. And this way, the general lines of the indispensable trajectory of our lives will be known. So given the choice, I think it would be better, like the death knell, to fly and be silent as day breaks, if only for 20 seconds.
Bidekoaz. Bidez, enezake besterik esan. Ibiltzeak nekatzen gaituela. baina ibiltzea bakarrik eraman gaitzakela nora nahi. Eta gainera beste gauza bat. Arrotz sentitzen garela bidez ezagunetan. Horregatik glosok. Zuaitzoker baten altzoan harri borobila, eta arkaitz goroldiotxoaren abaroan adaska okerra. Bidean arrastoak ustea, itzulera ez gorrotatzearen einekoa da. Lehengo hartzain eta garraiak eta bideak ez gara matzategia da, inora. Ezpada gauzen senera, hitzez hitz ezpada geure baitara. Zuaitzoker baten altzoan harri borobila, eta arkaitz goroldiotxoaren abaroan adaska okerra. Eta azkenean, errainua aurretik dela doanari, bidean doala iruditzen zaio. Atzetik jarraika denean, bideak daramala.
About the road issue, number 1. I can't say anything else about the roads. Walking makes us tired, but simply walking can take us anywhere. And something else as well. We feel foreign on unknown roads. For that reason, these comments: on the lap of a twisted tree, a smooth stone, and in the refuge of a mossy rock, a twisted twig. Leaving tracks on the road is tantamount to not hating a return trip. The old tracks of the shepherds and carts no longer take us anywhere, if not to the instinct of things, literally, if not inside ourselves. On the lap of a twisted tree, a smooth stone, and in the refuge of a mossy rock, a twisted twig. And in the end, she who goes with the shadow before her believes she is going along the road. When the shadow follows behind, she thinks the road is carrying her along.
Isiltasuna zabaldu dezu, mai gainean. Mantel zahartu eta ajeatu baten bat bezala. Esan nahi bazuen nu bezala. Hau ez da toki gozo bat, bertan bazaude ere. Hau ez da momentu gozo bat, eta ospatzeko ez ez dago. Eta zeropatu gutxi, etorri bazara ere. Besteok, apurrak mailaren albo batetara ekarri ditugu. Esandako hitzak txukun atondu. Jarleko guztiak ordenatu. Ez du inor falta, esan nahi dinat. Eta ez zagonen ben inor alferrik. Denekin eta denen artean gaitun begira idan. Eta emango dinat eskua maipeti. Eta geroxeago, tolestuko dinagu manteli gatu hau. Garbi azagon, ajearen isila dabakiz osatua. Isiltasuna, gogora dezagun, ez du muga, igaro bidea dun.
You spread silence all over the table, like a scruffy old tablecloth. As if you mean, this is not a pleasant place. Even if you are there, this is not a pleasant moment. There's nothing to celebrate, and very little to offer you, even though you've turned up. The rest of us have brushed the crumbs to one side of the table, neatly organized the words uttered, and arranged the seating order. No one's missing, meaning, no one is superfluous here. We are in the company of everyone. Look at me, and I'll give you my hand, under the table. And later on, we'll fold up this worn tablecloth. It's perfectly clean, made of silent patches of scruffiness. Silence, let us remember, is no frontier. It is a crossing place.
Alegia, arrastaka ez baizik eta zutik eta tente ibiltzen ikasi dugunetik, gure gorputzek giltza barruan dutela zarratua utzi ditugun kutsak dirudite. Eta dirudike gorputza giltzatzea beste biderik ez dela geratu, edo giltzarik ezpalego bezala bizitzea onartu beharko dela. Nola eta giltzarik izan zela ahaztuta, beste gorputz batzuetan gure soinaren bila abiatzen ezkaren, osgabetutako musika kutxetara bederen.
In other words, ever since we learned to walk upright, rather than dragged ourselves along, our bodies have resembled boxes that we have locked up, leaving the key inside. and there would appear to have been no other alternative but to lock the body with the key inside, or to agree to live as if there was no key. Unless, forgetting that there had ever been a key, we were to start seeking our bodies in other bodies, in soundproofed musical boxes, at least.
Ume gureak. Gure sabelean ernaldu eta itxatsi zinetenak. Gure baitatik sortu eta emakume egin mintuzuenak. Hartzazu arnasa, eman ziguten atxa. Egunarekin argia eta gauarekin atsedena. Hitzetan bizitza eta isiltasunean hasia. Ez gaitzazu utzi barren gabe. Ez gaitzazu uka inoren aurka. Aska gaitzazu betiko eriotzatik. Gure aragia ernalduz, gure izana itzarriz ondorengoengan. Menderik mende hemen. Denborarik denbora kemen.
Our children, you who are fertilized and attached to our wombs, you who emerged from inside us and made us women, breathing in, they gave us breath, light at daybreak and rest at nightfall, life in words and seed in silence. Don't leave us without insides. Don't deny us before anyone. Liberate us from eternal death by fertilizing our flesh, by awakening our being in our descendants, from century to century, here, from one time to the next verb.
Bueno, improvisazioaren munduan sartu garenez, ohar txiki bat egin dizuet, euskeraz, badago, ez dago generorik hirugarren pertsona. Baina, itan erabiliz, sartu dezakegu irakurlea gure testuetan. Orain, O'Connorrek ez daki esplikatu behar duela, baina esplikatuko du. O'Connor, debes de explicar una pequeña cuestión. En euskera, me han dicho que es un buen alumno. En euskera no hay género en la tercera persona, no hay masculino y femenino. Entonces aquí pues utilizamos él o ella, pero en euskera no hubiéramos utilizado él o ella, he o she. Sin embargo, en euskera, como en muy pocos idiomas de los que conocemos, yo que conozco tantos, podemos utilizar en el verbo mismo un vocativo, ¿no? Y entonces podemos hablar a las mujeres y a los hombres de manera diferenciada. Este es un poema que está escrito para decírselo a una amiga, a una compañera, a una persona del sexo femenino, que podíamos haber escrito lo mismo en el género masculino. Bueno, orain zuk.
Sí. Okay. Yeah. So there's no third person. There's no third. You can write a poem to a guy or to a woman or a man, have there be no orthographically, it'll be the same, but there is a mode of speaking where you can change it, and the invocative way of changing it. So this is written about a female companion, but it could also be masculine. So, which reading the English doesn't lend us that. So.
Nire larruan nagon, eta nire larruan nagon, eta ura nire larruan zagon, mundua zagon larrupean. Eta batzuetan mudatu nahi geninak larrua, sugeak bezala egiteagatik, mudatzeagatik. Eta arrastak ibiltzen gaitun, larrua nola urratu, bidea nola erratu. Nire larruan nagon, eta nire larruan nagon, eta haren larruan nagon, mundua zagon, geure larrupean. Eta beste batzuetan mudatu behar dinagu larrua, zureak bezala, izateko. Nik, ik, ak eta munduak, gura dinagu eta larrupe bera. Larruak biltzen duen haragi egina.
I'm in my skin, and you are in my skin, and he is in my skin. The world is under the skin. And sometimes we'd like to molt, just as snakes molt, just to change. We creep along to see how our skins get scratched, to see how to lose our way. I am in my skin, and I am in your skin, and I am in his skin. The world is under our skin. And other times we have to molt, like snakes, in order to be. Because I, you, he, and the world want to be under the same skin, turned into flesh, enveloped by the skin.
Mina isilik egoten da denboratan. Isiltasunak berago abesten du, eta bizigurak ere bai, eta gero braust, etorri egiten da. Hain tupustean, non uste dugun, kanpoko erasoa dela. Hain sarkor, non igartzen dugun, geurek baitan izan dela zelatan. Mina berriz, sorgor etorri zaizu gauera. Zure minaren lekuko izateak ezeren jakitun egingo banindu bezala, erantzuten dizut. Jakite hutsaz libratu alba zintut bezala. Eta jakitearen ignorantziarekin baino ezin dizut erantzun. Eta nahi izatearen xamurtasun guztiarekin. Hurrengo batean minak berriz gaua sorgor zulatzen duenean, uzkurtu eta isilduko naizen beldurrak hartuta batzuetan. Eta hala, minaldietako denbora fragmentarioa da. Dela minak atzera egin eta denbora zarpail batzuk eskuartean utzi dizkigulako, dela minari aurre egiteko denbora oiala zulatu egin zaigulako. Eta gero, hori zaindu alde, ezartzen dizkigun adabakiz, gure aldi hori osatzen den arren, nekez asetzen du denborak minaldien ostean. Eta horregatik, ozenki irakurtzen ditut, zer egin ez dakidanetan. Egin ezin izan ditudanak entzun beharko banitu bezala, edo ametsen loburuan grisketatu ditudanak askatzeko, edo esaten asmaten ez ditudanak gogoratzeko. Ozenki eta geldi irakurtzen dut. Denbora pasa arren geratzen den mina, silabetan xehatzeko ziurrenera. Eta mina, denboraren alde erantzia bezalakoa delako, nola ere bait. Baina hotxa apaldu zerrerutzen dut, denbora puska horiek ez daitezela izan denbora puskatuak. Nekez asetzen baitu denbora ondoren.
Pain remains silent for some time. It is protected by that very silence, and also by the will to live. And then all of a sudden it comes, so suddenly that we think it is an attack from outside, so penetratingly that we realize it has been stalking around inside us. Pain, again, and passively it has come to you, in the night. I reply as if being the witness of your pain made me aware of nothing. As if with the mere knowledge I could release you from it. And I can only reply from the ignorance of knowing, with all the tenderness of loving, sometimes for fear that another time, when the pain once again penetrates the night impassively, I will be curled up, keeping silence on occasions. Whenever pain comes in bouts, it is fragmentary. Whether it is because the pain has withdrawn and has left some time rags in our hands, whether it is because the time cloth to stand up to the pain has been torn. And then, even though this time of ours has been repaired with the patches, we sew onto it in order to mend it. Time barely satisfies after the bouts of pain. And so, when I don't know what to do, I read aloud, as if having to listen to the things I couldn't bear to hear, or to liberate the ones that I have bolted into the lobe of dreams, or to remember the ones I haven't succeeded in uttering. I read slowly and aloud, most likely to divide up the pain that is left into syllables, even though time has passed, or because somehow the pain is like the stripped aspect of time. But in a low voice, I plead that those bits of time should not be broken times, because time barely satisfies after that. Just one question. I know. But what is the only thing that matters when we don't love, when we aren't loved? What is the only thing that doesn't matter when we are loved or when we are loved?
Ez da galdera bat, baino, izango, badakit baina, zer da inportaren bakarra, maite ez dugunean, edo maite ez gaituztenean. Zer da inporta ez den bakarra, maite dugunean, edo maite gaituztenean.
You've given me some earrings. I look into your eyes. As the silence melts, a tear seeps out of the corner of your eye. In the Antarctic. They say there are no land flora and fauna in the Antarctic. Only animals that live in and off the sea, seals and penguins and such like. They say there is no one in the Antarctic, except the one who takes the photo, or doesn't look at it. And he will only see whiteness among the blues of the sea and sky, unable to leave the edges of the frame, and only the ice will be heard under the sky, or maybe something else. Because under the permanent sea ice and the platforms of the Weddell and Ross seas, the coastal water moves westwards, pushed by the continental easterly wind. But how would we know about that if the Lamias had not built the way to us, under those frozen mountains all the way to us? How, if the tears had been unable to find their way either from the broken heart to the eyes?
Belarritakoak oparitu dizkidazu. Begietara begiratzen dizut, eta isiltasuna urtuz, malko batek irten du begi hartzetik. Antartikan. Antartikan ezei dago lurreko flora eta faunarik. Itsasoan eta itsasotik bizi diren animaliak salbu. Foka eta pinguino eta horrelako. Antartikan ezei da inor. Argazki egin edo argazkiari begiratzen ez diona salbu. Eta ark ez du zuritasuna baino ikusiko. Zeru eta itsasoaren urdinen artean. Atera ezin da laukiaren mugatik, eta ez da izotza baina entzungo zeruaren azpian. Hala bai, izan ere, bankisa iraunkorren eta urazaleko plataformen azpitik, Oendel eta Ross itsasoetatik, itsasertzeko ura mendebaldera mugitu egiten baita, kontinente barruko ekialdeko haizea bultzatuta. Baina nola izango ote genuke horren berri? Izoztutako mendiaien azpitik, lamiek ere egin ezpalute geure arteko bidea. Nola, malkuek ere bere bidea asmatuko ezpalute, zartatutako bihotzetatik begietara. Mila esker eta gabon pasa. Muchas gracias y una tarde.
Hi, thanks again for coming. If you would like to ask questions to the poets, you are most welcome. Yes.
I'm very curious about Odi's poetry. And well, I am curious about it. And even the use of the epithet, el epiteto, el adjetivo epiteto, how you use it, I think it's related to ancient forms of poetry.
You know that Homer wrote the first version of the Iliad was from oral tradition. So as students and as a reader, I of course read not only Western good literature, but also I read books such as La Araucana, in which the writer tried to interpolate, to introduce some techniques of Western literature in the oral tradition of Andean literature, to say. And of course, what I tried to make in my poems is try to preserve that oral tradition forms, and especially in Quechua, that sounds, that tone of this wonderful poetry. Yeah.
Yo no voy a hablar en inglés, Bueno, por una parte pertenezco a un pueblo pues, que no tiene héroes, con lo cual pues difícilmente parto de una tradición épica. Y por otra parte, en mi caso, como mujer, tampoco los modelos heroicos de la chanson de Roland o de la Araucana ni del Neo Cid pues me sugieren gran cosa.
Yeah, so she comes from the village, from the pueblo. So the tradition of so the tradition of the Greek wasn't really something that was one of the main influences. Her influences come more from the day-to-day life of the area, less from the larger tradition. But we can of course see.
She said she comes from a country. She said she comes from a country without heroes, and so the heroic epic doesn't do much for her. And as a woman too, the heroic tradition is off the point.
Was that question addressed to anyone or just to Odi?
In principle to.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But well, I guess that you know.
No, my tradition hasn't. It's said that it's mostly lyrical, Catalan tradition. We know there were epic poems, but haven't been preserved, and there are bits of pieces of them in Vivo Chronicle. And that's pretty much it. There is a 19th century epic poetry with Verdaguer and others, but it's this is not the old. Of course, I've read the Greeks and others, no, but and I like epic poetry a lot, but I don't think you can see it in these poems. Maybe in other of my poems, I have longer poems where you could, I don't know. Probably I'm at the wrong end of the periscope, but I don't see it here. Maybe in other of my longer poems, there is some of that epic breath.
I have a question. It's a question for the three of you. Because I see, if for example, in Odi's poetry, in the poetry you read, and also what Melcion read, there is a mention of tradition within your language and within your culture. You read a poem to Raimundo Lul, for example, and Odi was talking about colonial arts of Peru in the 17th century. So my question is, how do you relate to this background, to this tradition of yours? La pregunta es cómo te relacionas, Tere, y si tienes detrás una tradición en vasco con la cual tu poesía dialoga. ¿Sí? Pero también para los tres. ¿Puedes empezar? Sí.
Bueno, casi todas las lenguas europeas que provienen del latín empezaron a escribir en su lengua vernácula para escribir poesías de amor o para hablar de sentencias, de, no sé cómo se dice las sentencias, los refranes, ¿no? Que se decían cuentos de comadres o achotichak en euskera. Es decir, que en realidad todo el mundo tenemos una tradición a la que retornarnos, ¿no? Y yo particularmente, muchos juglares han sido vascos, han sido mujeres y, bueno, pues por ejemplo, uno de los mayores poetas vascos del siglo XVII escribió toda su obra en francés y latín y luego publicó poemas de amor y publicó los refranes. Entonces, es verdad que todo el mundo, yo creo que tenemos una tradición a la que nos referimos, ¿no?
I mean, all the world has a tradition which they refer to. She said there's a lot of women who are born in the Basque country, so I mean, a lot of her poetry can be concerned with that. The troubadours are women, so her poetry comes from this. The root is not not masculine, it's feminine.
In my case, I am a translator as well, so I translate many poems, many myths, stories from 16th, 17th century. So of course, I receive when I translating all the influence of this rich or Peruvian or Andean oral tradition. I wrote 2 poems in quechua. The rest of my book is in Spanish, but I tried to write specifically about Andean topics. For example, I have a book called La Escuela de Cusco, Cusco School, related to the indigenous painters of the 17th century. And in this book, the painters speak in the poems and talking with is in Spanish, but they talk with Quechua syntaxis, for example. Fortunately, I have a rich heritage of poetry from Andean region, and of course, as well, from the wonderful Peruvian poetry in Spanish as well, and of course, of the literature in Spanish in general, and the literature in English. Yeah.
Yes, Pedro Salinas, the Spanish poet Pedro Salinas used to say that tradition is the natural room for a poet. And of course, in Catalan poetry, we have a room of our own. And we have a tradition, an uninterrupted tradition, written tradition from the 12th century till now. How do you relate to that? What do you do? That's what's interesting, you know. For me, it's a challenge. And how do you relate to this? I think we have to do something with it, but it's sometimes following the way or against it or guised way, you know, like something that it's like a skeleton, you know, that's building the words from it. And I also think, which can seem an oxymoron to someone, but I think that Catalan tradition is avant-garde tradition. And that's from Ramon Llull, who was the first philosopher in a Roman language, to our painters, and the way I read it, not that everyone thinks like me, but as I read it, Catalan tradition is avant-garde tradition, so it's a continuous renewal topic.
Yes, that's true.
Who are your favorite poets in English? Sus poetas preferidos en inglés.
Los poetas preferidos en inglés.
Yes.
See, in my case, actually, I tried to read many poets, but I can cite, for example, Lee Masters, a wonderful poet, is like in the like a poeta provinciano. Another powerful influence is, of course, the big generation, Allen Ginsberg. But in general, this country or English language have wonderful poets. For example, I like very much Eliot, Ezra Pound, or the poet and novelist Samuel Beckett. Actually, there are a lot of writers. You cannot say this or this. No. Actually, it is a large list. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to answer. There are so many. You know. But I made a reference to Marianne Moore. I see her work very present in many things. It's very stimulating. Of course, the great modernist, Eliot, Pound, but I like also the second generation, more experimental, Louis Zukowski. I like John Ashbery, whom I translated, but I like Frank O'Hara a lot from the New York School, very much. And there are many, the English Romantics, Keats, Coleridge. Those were the first poets I read in English, so you hear. They're always there. But there are many.
Bueno, yo no sigo mucho la poesía en inglés. Me ha gustado mucho John Donne, me ha gustado mucho Shakespeare.
She hasn't read much in English, but she does like John Donne and Shakespeare.
Pero, por ejemplo, poemas de Spawn River, que has citado tú, los poemas de Spawn River o Eliot, Pound, pues son grandes. Hay también más, pero no.
I would like to say something. Did you know, I talk with American poets, friends, bilingual poets. Did you know that Whitman, for example, is much better in Spanish?
Edgar Allan Poe in French is better, yeah. It's true, Baudelaire, Hermé translated him.
Yeah, that's true, but
Faulkner, la poesía de Faulkner, no es muy extensa, pero la poesía de Faulkner, Primavera.
Thanks to everybody, I guess. No? No, yeah.
Mil esker.
Thank you.